Okay, welcome back to Understanding Residential Permit Drawings. This is video 3 in the series, and today we're going to talk about plan views. So in this set of drawings, there's a few different types of plan views. There's site plans, which is basically like a view from above. It shows a lot of different things. We'll talk more about each one as we go into them. There's an area plan that gives you a very quick look at the area of the project. There's a roof plan that gives you features of the roof. And then we have a few different types of floor plans. I have an existing floor plan with demolition work on there too that shows what things need to be remodeled, demolished. And then there's the new work plan that shows how that addition is going to take place. So the very first plan that we're going to look at is our site plan. So there's a lot of different information on here. The first thing that I want to make note of is this great big Pennsylvania 811, and what this basically is you have to call this number, or the contractor needs to call this number before any excavation, any digging takes place. And they have the website, phone numbers, and basically what happens is someone within this organization will go through the property and they'll find out if there's any utility lines under the ground that you need to be aware of before you start excavating. So there could be gas lines, there could be water lines, there could be electric lines, and basically what they're trying to do is prevent any major accidents. So they'll go through and find and locate those different utilities, and then they'll mark them with spray paint or tags, little tags that go in the ground showing where those lines are, and that's a requirement that the contractor must do before they start digging. Alright, so the next thing on here, basically this right here, these lines, these are called phantom lines. So that's just a line type. The line type is called phantom line, and what these phantom lines are representing are the property boundary lines. So the way that I would actually create these is I would attain the deed from the owners or get it from the courthouse, and basically there's going to be a legal description of the property. So the legal description of the property is going to have, and this is a nice, neat, easy one. Just on a side note, a lot of legal descriptions of properties have a lot of problems in them, especially older ones where the equipment wasn't as precise as it is now. A lot of properties that I've worked on, the boundaries don't actually close. A lot of them overlap dramatically with other properties, so there's a lot of problems with older property lines. This one is nice, neat, easy, four-sided, and basically high precision information. And I can see that it's high precision whenever I look at one of these. So whenever I'm looking at this, I basically have on top here, this is my angular measurement, and it's broken down into a precision of degrees, minutes, and seconds. And what that really means is there are 60 minutes in a degree. So if I were to make a mistake by 1 degree over 5,000 feet, then it's going to make a significant difference whenever the total size of the property is determined. So I can break down 1 degree even further by having 60 minutes within that degree. So in this instance there's 50 minutes, which is almost 1 degree, 5/6 of a degree. So this is almost 74 degrees. And then the last number represents the seconds. So degrees, minutes, seconds. And again, there's 60 seconds in a minute. That's an easy one to remember. So, and how many seconds are in a degree? There's 60 times 60, or 3,600. So it's a very, very precise way of measuring angles. The first letter here, S, that stands for south, and then the last one stands for west. And if you look at other ones, we have north and west. So this is basically starting at south and measuring 73 degrees, 50 minutes, 0 seconds towards the west. That is our angle. The number down here is the total number of feet, and it's in decimal form instead of feet and inches. So 156.15 feet. So as I go around this complete site plan, I have all those different boundary lines. And what there is a lot of times in the corners, there would be iron pins that identify or locate the corners, and that would be your starting point. So a lot of times you may see those on the drawing. Like I said, a lot of older site plans, you're not going to see iron pins. There's going to be, or if you would go out and actually look for those, you would find strange things for iron pins, whatever they happen to have laying around, like a signpost or something like that. A metal pipe, I've seen those. A lot of times they would use blazes in trees, basically take a machete and cut 3 little sections out of the tree so that you can see basically where the boundary corner is. So there's a lot of different things that are used. Most prevalently now are iron pins driven into the ground, and then there's a little orange plastic cap that goes over top of them. So you can find them easily if you start looking for them with a metal detector, and then you have to dig away a little bit of grass. You can see that orange cap. Alright, so then the next thing from the property lines, we have these green hidden lines which represent our building setbacks. And setbacks are basically what we are required to, or the boundary lines that we're required to stay within for construction, putting any kind of building structures on. So I cannot have my new addition extend out into this area because I have 30 feet on my backyard setback from my property line that I cannot build within. So it's different on the side. On the sides it's 8 feet, and in the front it's 20 feet. And that's basically all that is to say, hey, you cannot build within this area. And there's a lot of different reasons for that. Alright, so the next thing on here, I have some road names, and that just kind of gets you in the vicinity whenever you're looking at this and trying to figure out what you're actually looking at. You can very quickly look at the roads and see how that works out. We have the project address right there. We have our drawing title and our north arrow. So this would be north, this highlighted part here, this side of the building. Also included in the site plans, you have to have all of the existing and proposed or new buildings. Any structures need to be shown on here. So there's a lot of things that aren't on this site plan that a lot of times would need to be shown. A lot of times you would have driveways being shown. If I need to cut in a new driveway and have a permit for a driveway being cut into an existing road, I would need to show the driveway. A lot of times my utilities need to be shown, my electrical connections, my not only the existing lines but also how you're going to connect to them, where any telephone poles might be, electrical poles, all the different utilities, water, gas, electric, sewer. So a lot of times those things, or more often than not, those things will be shown on a site plan, and the big reason that they're not shown on this plan is because everything was going to be tied into this existing residence. So everything was already there. But in a new construction project, you're almost always going to have all those utilities located and called out within the drawing. A lot of times you can also find vegetation, existing trees, existing shrubbery, things like that, shown up on the site plan. a lot of times what will happen is these site plans can also include a grading plan, which has the topographic information on it. It can show where any ditches or swales, basically how this piece of property is going to drain. And I've worked on a lot of commercial projects in the past where you have to show, first of all, the first rule is all of the water that lands on your piece of property needs to be contained within your site. You can't just make a great big ditch and have it go over to your neighbor's property, so you have to contain it on the site. So if you look at a lot of commercial retail spaces, malls, shopping centers, Walmart, Lowe's, big places like this, what you'll see is they have swales, or like a gentle rolling ditch that goes into a retention pond. So just something to look for. So there's a lot of different things that could be on here. We could also show some details of how the excavation is going to take place, but this was basically a pretty simple site plan that everything that is in here were the things that were needed to meet the minimum requirements for code approval.